Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. Don't you think that's cute? That's on TikTok. I that does look like the Alpine mansion he had in Beverly Hills. But he moved around the corner to another mansion. Yeah, I believe that was the Alpine one. It looks like it was. I showed up to that gate. Yes, I did. A number of times. He lives right near Dr. Phil, and yeah, and I even knocked on Dr. Phil's door and talked to his wife on the intercom when I was trying to get somebody to sign my documents because I wanted to get custody of Surrey. Oh, I just think about it now. And Dr. Phil's wife says, I'm sorry. We're not, nobody's here that will do any such thing. Or I don't remember how she said it, but she was very, like, she had a really sweet voice. Like, I'm sorry. There's no one at this address uh, who will be, participating in such an activity. I don't know what it was. She just had a really, she was very nice. She had a really nice voice on the intercom, Dr. Phil's wife. I'm sorry, no one at this address will be able to cooperate with you on that. Something like that. And I just thought she was so nice to me, despite being very firm that they are Team Tom at this address. Yeah, I was really creating a scene. I mean, I really thought this was my media event, okay? When they, Tom, he married Katie. I mean, they didn't marry first. They had the baby first. And I just figured, of course they're going to include me. I mean, why did he choose to have my baby? Okay. It's my baby. And they implanted her. And of course, the reason why she had such a big tummy, and let's find like a picture of her big tummy. Katie Holmes, big baby bump, right? Let's look at that. Okay, and I'm going to share the screen in a second here. Okay, share screen. There we go. Okay, look at this baby bump. Okay, let's see. Oh, here. Remember this. Remember this. Remember that. And this is, I mean, look at how big she is. Okay, this is her. Look at how huge. Look at how huge she is. I know some women are just bigger than others, but she had an unusual. Look at this. Katie Holmes wears prosthetic baby bump on set. Okay, that's a different thing. I just remember these these pictures. Let's see. Let's put some more up. Look at this. I mean, it's just I just thought it was such a, look at this thing. Look at how huge she was. 3 babies, okay? There were 3 babies in there. That's why she's so big. And she's a tall girl, okay? Remember this. Remember that. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Oh. Oh, it's not making it bigger. It just makes the print bigger. So annoying. All right, let's make it regular size. I don't want to leave the page, but remember this. Look at this. Look at that thing. I want to visit, but I'll share the screen with you. Let's see. Hold on just a minute. Is it? There. Okay, let me share that screen. Remember this? Katie Holmes in 2006 when Katie, 39, was pregnant with daughter Surrey. Was she that old back then? I didn't know she was that old. Now 11. Well, now she's 18. Photographs seem to show a baby bump that grew and shrank by the day. Grew and shrank? Some bloggers even accused her of stuffing a pillow or a basketball up her shirt. She was just so huge and weird. It's because she had 3 babies in there. She had 3 babies. This is like the classic picture of her with her huge baby bump. 3 babies, triplets, okay? That's why. And nobody has ever, people don't really mention it, you know, everybody like thinks it's, I mean, I guess some people think it's a fake bump. I've heard that, like they just mentioned. But nobody has mentioned that, oh, maybe she had triplets or maybe she had more than one baby. Nobody, I don't hear that at all. She had triplets. That's why she was so humongous. Yeah, so I just thought, Tom would know that when he jumped the couch on Oprah, that was a Claire whistle. I mean, that is calling Claire. Hey, Claire, remember me? I mean, he had to have known that. Why did he jump the couch? That's what I thought. I mean, he didn't, I know he supposedly he was just so crazy in love with Katie Holmes. Yeah, and Katie was backstage and when she was all excited, he was just like, "Stay calm." There was an exchange. We should bring it up. Let's look at it. It's important to look at this history. Tom Cruise. We have the right. This is public history. This is US history. This is celebrity history, okay? Tom Cruise jumping the couch on Oprah. Okay. There's one on TMZ. I guess that'll be good enough. I hope it's long enough. It's only 24 seconds. This one is longer. This is on Facebook. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. Me jumping the couch on Oprah. Oh, wait. I have to click this and it's going to take me to another page. Wait. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me just, I have to share this page now. Oh, okay. It showed it. Oh, good. I thought that it wasn't going to show it. All right. Let me put me in here. Where am I? Okay. All right. Let's watch it.
I go, what has happened to you? What has happened to you? That's how I feel about it. Really?
Okay, I have to tell you.
Well, okay, tell me.
Okay. Kate, sorry.
No.
Oh, ladies, please. Okay.
I've never seen you like that.
They're editing it, but
I know. And I thought, you know what? I thought,
I'm gone.
are you
I don't
sleeping?
care.
We've never seen you behave this way before.
I know.
Have you ever felt this way before? You're gone. You are gone.
yeah. I mean, we as producers, to get Tom Cruise to be the famous movie star he was, we groomed him, we trained him and everything, and he never acted that way. That was the way he acted at my house. And that, as my cousin, he jumped the couch. He was goofy and weird and nerdy, and I wasn't interested, I just, I wasn't interested in him like that. And then when I found out he was Robbie McCool, who had, played a role in my third grade class, I was like, oh my God, yes, I'll marry Tom. Yeah, that goofy guy was the Tom Cruise, well, Tom Mopother back then at my house in Old Greenwich, Connecticut, and prior houses. Well, he didn't really show up at my Lexington, Massachusetts address. It really started in Old Greenwich, Connecticut, as far as I remember. I mean, I'm trying to think, I don't remember him in Lexington, Massachusetts. Do I remember him in California? I lived in California when I was a young child before I turned 6. I don't really remember him there. It really was Old Greenwich when it started, and then Princeton, New Jersey. Yeah. And I guess they lived. Did he grow up in New York State? I think so. So that would be why, right? Because California was a long way away, but they could do a road trip and get to Old Greenwich, Connecticut, or Princeton, New Jersey. And that's what they did. Okay, so when Tom jumped the couch on Oprah, it was like, I mean, he knew that I'm grown up Claire Elliott was going to jog her memory, and I was going to remember him, because he knew I did not remember him up until that point. He knew I didn't. He had shown up in Glendale, where I lived, in disguise, whatever, in another body. Of course, I didn't know it was Tom. I don't know why. If he wanted to go out with me, he should have asked me out. I don't know why he didn't. I just thought, oh, and it was his kids trying to set us up, and he didn't, he seemed a little quiet, and I figured I didn't want to put, just because his kids wanted me to go out with him, I didn't, you know what I mean? It should come from him, not his kids, and it didn't, so I moved along. And so when he did this, I was like, oh, and I remembered everything finally. I just figured okay, I have to go back to LA now. This is the big event that's happening in my life. At the time I was homeless. Okay. I was living in a shelter in the East Village in New York City. And I was like, okay, I got to go back to LA now. I went back to LA, and I was again living in a shelter in downtown LA, Santa Monica, living behind a building outside. That's the place in life I was at the time. And so I had nothing to lose. I remember buying the Vanity Fair magazine bright and early when it first came out on the newsstand. I was outside. I got there early. I was I was sleeping behind a building on Ocean Park Boulevard in Santa Monica. And I went to the promenade, the 3rd Street promenade, to buy the paper first thing in the morning, when it first came out. And I remember sitting there in the early morning hours, it was like 7 a.m. or something, and flipping through the Vanity. I had my money together to buy the Vanity Fair magazine, and I was looking at my children and at my babies. And I just thought, oh, it's, I had no interest in breaking up his relationship with I keep calling her in my mind Surrey, Katie. He was my cousin, and yeah, I was open. I'm open-minded, of course, and I've always thought Tom Cruise was really cute, but of course I just wanted to have a life. I just was waiting for my life to begin. I didn't have any money. Of course, we all know Tom Cruise has an abundance of money, and thanks to me, thanks to I was his producer. I was one of his many producers. one of his many screenwriters. We planned his career and everything, and he knows that he owes his career to me. So of course, he's going to introduce me to the world. I'm the biological mother of his baby, his wife, or they got married after Surrey was born, and his woman was going to give is the surrogate mother of Surrey, right? And I just assumed, it was this big thing we all were in agreement with, that he had already told Katie about me. I mean, obviously, maybe she didn't know she was implanted. I think she did, and she knows she had triplets, and she knows that they were hiding them. And see, I showed his house because it was a big place, and I used to think, okay, how are they hiding these two other babies? Did they separate the triplets? I do not think so. I do think that Surrey grew up with her triplet brother and sister up until the time her mother left him in 2012 and took Surrey with her to New York. I do believe so. And I don't know, do they get together? Do they ship the triplets out to New York? And I don't think Surrey goes anywhere, because Surrey's the triplet that everybody recognizes. But Sophie, if they're identical twins, and boy, I think they look like it, don't they? Then she could be mistaken for Surrey. I don't know. They got to keep them under wraps. I mean, where are they? I mean, but the thing is, okay, no, they wouldn't be. Actually, what am I saying? They can't be identical twins, because Stone and Sophie, they have a different father. Sorry, forgive me. I forgot that detail. So they can't be identical twins, but boy, do they look almost identical, don't they? And obviously the fathers are related, clearly. I mean, it's amazing how alike the triplets look. And I don't think Surrey does have light eyes, doesn't she? Yeah, and they all have light eyes. Yeah, they all have like blue eyes or something. And and this was the thing back in the day. I remember there was like this website. They don't have it up anymore. They discontinued it. It was tomcat.com or something, and I'd go to the library or to my college computer center, and I'd be in the comments at tomcat.com, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm her mother. I'm Surrey's Violet." I don't know, and I think I got pretty aggressive. I just thought it was part of a media event, and I apologize to Katie Holmes for being so rude. If I don't remember all the things I said, but I remember the owner of the website being very concerned about Katie Holmes' feelings, and because I don't know, they didn't know what I was claiming was correct. Obviously they didn't think it was correct, and they were like, "Oh, I please, could you be a little more respectful of Katie Holmes?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, I will. I just, I'm the biological mother, and I'm just trying to like make myself known here." But I don't think I was too mean. I mean, maybe I was a little snarky. That's a word I had to look up when one of my former classmates called me snarky on Facebook when I first joined Facebook, and I don't know when it was, 2004 or something like that. I don't know, maybe it was later. Maybe it was later. It's like I took a long time to join Facebook, actually. I think it was, yeah, I took a while. I don't know when it was, but maybe it was 2008. I don't know. And I had to look that one up. And yeah, I guess I can be a little snarky online. Even snark is probably more snarky than I am in person. I don't know. When I write, I get an attitude, maybe a little more. I don't know. I apologize to anyone who's offended by my snarkiness. I do. I kind of go into a different mode when I write. My writing mode, other personalities come out. I'm sorry. It's just, that's the way I am, and I don't mean any offense. But sometimes when you want to get your point across, it's writing, I guess you can be a little more forceful in some ways. I don't know. Maybe I have a little more courage when I write than I do when I speak. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, tomcat.com. Eventually, the owner said, I'm sorry. I can't have you on here anymore. She was so worried about Katie being offended by me. And then they end up divorced in 2012. And the website is no more. But I just thought we could, I was content with, being like an ex. I mean, I never went out with Tom ever. I never went out with Tom as far as I know. I mean, and, maybe he's one of my ex-boyfriends in disguise. I don't know. But as far as I know, I never went out with Tom. And he was my cousin. We went through a lot of torture together, and that bonded us. It deeply bonded us. And yeah, we went through a marriage ceremony, which connected him with my money. And he was the first, or at least one of the first people I was married to. I was also, it's terrible. This is what the CIA does. I was also married to my father, Dennis Elliott. And I also was married to Daisaku Ikeda, president of the SGI, my other father. I have many fathers, genetically speaking, I do. And, Daddy, that's a different guy. That's Clint Eastwood. Daddy raised me when I was a young child. He was everything to me. And, I do consider Daisaku Ikeda to be to have been a father to me. He was the one. I just want Vanessa Shaw to understand something. Daisaku Ikeda, when I was being married to Daisaku Ikeda, all the pedophiles around me, I'm talking about Stuart Humpert, who was such an inspiration for Larry Shaw, Vanessa's father. He just thought it was so cool, all the stuff that I was doing and everything. And I thought it was great too. He got me so that I didn't really understand how sick all of this stuff is. And Dean, what are you cooking? Something's burning. Did you cook? What did you do? Heat something up? Okay. He turned to me when I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting married to Daisaku Ikeda," because I thought it was right before he was named the SGI president on Guam, nominated, whatever. And when we were getting married, and I was all excited because I was like, "Oh, my SGI!" And he turned to me, and he didn't even speak to me with his eyes. He was very stern, and he corrected me like, "This is not funny. This is sick what we're doing right now. You marrying me so we can have this organization. This is sick. This is abnormal. This is not funny." He corrected me very sternly with his eyes. He didn't, at the time, I wasn't speaking Japanese anymore. So he couldn't speak to me, in Japanese. And he couldn't, I guess, I don't know how good his English was. I mean, he knew English fluently, but I guess he didn't want to speak to me. He didn't want the other people around him to know what he was telling me. It was like telepathically with his eyes. He was like, "This is not funny. This is sick. This is not funny. This is not a great thing. This is disgusting that you're married. We have to get married to do this. This is disgusting. It's CIA bullshit," is, really the bottom line. And he corrected me, and I was like, "Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay." I was misled by, Stuart and all the sick people around me, and he corrected me. He set me straight. So I just want you to know, Vanessa, that none of this is normal. What you've been chanting to tolerate and to cope with, you shouldn't cope with it. You shouldn't tolerate it. Daisaku Ikeda would severely reprimand you for pretending everything's okay, for chanting to appear like your life is perfect. It's not perfect. You shouldn't cooperate with the plan, with all the people around you telling you, to do what you do, for the sake of Kosarufu. It's bullshit. And you join them in obstructing Kosarufu by cooperating with this bullshit. That's what I want to tell Vanessa. I was severely reprimanded by Daisaku Ikeda himself for thinking all this stuff was great, and no, it's not. He made it really clear. No, this is not great. We got to do what we got to do, but it sucks. And I just want Vanessa to understand that Daisaku Ikeda was not on board with this stuff. He just didn't have a choice. Kozarufu is that important to, that he goes along with this crap, but it's not okay. And I don't want you to ever think any of this is okay. All right. That's my stern rebuke of you. Like, I'm passing it down to you from Daisaku Ikeda himself. Okay, I know you don't listen to me, nobody does, but maybe you'll listen to Daisaku Ikeda. And by the way, I'm going to just add a little detail right now in case anyone doesn't know it, and maybe not everybody knows it. Not very many people know it. Daisaku Ikeda was me. That was me when I was 8 years old. That I was inside his body. That was me. Okay. And everybody listened to me and thought I was God when I was Daisaku Ikeda. And now nobody listens to me or cares about me. It's really quite an experience to be, to receive such grand adulation as all the people I was. I mean, Tiger Woods, Michael Jackson. Oh, I was Tom Cruise too, by the way. Yeah, I was the famous one, not the one in heaven that died when he was 15. I was the movie star. All these people, Jesus Christ. I mean, I was 8-year-old Claire inside that body that was Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm serious. And I know, and I'm not trying to make myself into some God or, I'm not an egomaniac. I'm not some narcissist. I'm just telling you the facts. And I have to make it public to be declassified. And I don't know if anyone cares. But I feel like I have to make it public. I have to put it out there. And I was Madonna too, by the way. And she still exists, right? Tom Cruise still exists. That's the thing. You can, it's time travel. I exist simultaneous to my alternate personas. But I'm still 8 years old inside them. Tom Cruise is 8 years old, and he acts 8 a lot of times. Okay, he does. He acts 8 years old. So does Madonna. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who else. Oh, Shiloh Jolie Pitt. I was her, and she still exists. I mean, I could go on. I don't know how many people. I can't keep track of them all. Somebody's coming to mind. Forget her name. Some singer. Fleetwood Mac singer. What's her name? Stevie Nicks. That was me. In another body, 8 years old. And she wrote her own songs, by the way. And I won't go on. It doesn't matter. So I know it just sounds so crazy. I know. This is why it's top secret, okay? And that's how they keep it top secret, because it's so crazy. No one's ever going to believe me. They're just going to think I'm crazy, right? I'm just telling you the crazy truth, okay? I'm not crazy. The truth is crazy. All right. So, where are we at in my story? All right. So, I'm in LA waiting for my debut, hamming it up, in the comments at Tomcat, and, showing up at Tom and Katie's gate, looking in the camera. I mean, I was trying to like get things started. Come on, Tom, come on. And I finally get so I move away, as you know. Well, but I'm back in LA. Okay. I'm trying to remember the date. Okay, or the year anyway. I guess it was I moved to Florida, right? Um, and I came back in 2008, and okay, I was all right. I moved to Florida, and by the way, I was a Tom Cruise's roommate for a while. He was in one of his alternate personas. He was a man, a transgender man, a woman. Sorry, he was a man who became a woman, and he hadn't yet um, gotten any surgery, but he was taking his hormones, his hormone therapy. Um, he had to do that for 2 years before he was eligible for surgery, I think is how it works. And yeah, I lived with in his townhouse in Florida. I could barely afford it. That's another story. And yeah, I lived with him as her roommate, and I'd always call him by mistake, and she'd always slap me. No, you know, it was hard. It was hard for me to remember. It was just not. She was so masculine. 6 something and with a low voice. It was hard to remember. It was. She was very much a man still, and she needed a lot of surgery to not be. But yeah, it was like not actually. It seemed like it was longer. I moved in probably with my boyfriend. I moved in, but it kicked my boyfriend out after he started doing drugs, and that's why I couldn't afford it anymore. But she insisted I stay, and I did. But it's a long story. I won't get into it. But I lived with her. It seemed like longer, but only a few months. And I left for LA because um I was going to report. I guess that's when I reported my father as the Zodiac killer to the Palo Alto PD. And eventually, um, I went up to LA, down to LA, I should say. And I told Burt Fields, Tom Cruise's lawyer, I was trying to get somebody's attention. Nobody was responding. So I said, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to contact Burt Fields, Tom Cruise's lawyer. That was the name of my daddy when he was my daddy. My mother's married Fields, and Burt Fields, that was his name. And of course, Tom Cruise's lawyer has the exact same name. It's not the same guy. Maybe it's a different daddy's a different persona of daddy's. He certainly acted like daddy in a lot of ways. It really could have been. But it wasn't daddy. It was a different persona, at least. And I knew that they were different. But I figured, okay, they just want me to contact Burt. Okay. And so I contacted Burt Fields and told him I was coming to LA and to meet me I was coming in on a Greyhound, and I was going to arrive at this time at the Hollywood station, and please have someone meet me at the bus. Okay. And, so we can get this party started. Right. And yeah, that was the winner. Contacting Burt Fields. Okay. I halfway expected no one was going to, I really didn't think anyone was going to show up for me. I was just winging it. I was just trying anything, throwing the spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. I had no idea how serious, how much of a response I would get by contacting Burt Fields, his attorney. So the Greyhound pulls into the station. I get out. I don't think there's anyone there. I'm just gonna like show. And I mentioned to Burt Fields that I would be. I'll be. If no one meets me, that I'll be quite happy to show up at his green gate. He had moved to the new house, the new mansion, I should say, and it had a green gate. And the other one was a white gate. Okay, and so I wanted him to know. I know what his gate looks like. I've been there. I haven't knocked. I haven't rang the doorbell, but I know where he lives now. And oh, I that got Burt Fields' attention. And I got off the bus, and of course, nobody's there right immediately. And I just walk out, and I heard Claire. I look, and there's this guy by a car, and I'm like, yes. How did you know my name? And he's like, and he shows a picture of me, a picture of me at Tom Cruise's gate, going, looking in the camera really close. And I'm like, oh my God, how did you, oh, I didn't know you had a picture of me like that. I was really embarrassed. He's like, hi, my name is whatever he said. And I'm part of Tom Cruise's security team. Would you like to get some breakfast? And I'm like, sure, okay. I was just flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it that I got a response from Tom Cruise after all this time making a big. I was trying so hard to get someone, to attract attention by someone, and I mean, he never responded. I didn't know how to contact him or anything. I'm not one of these fans who, is always sending fan mail or anything. So it was just I was flabbergasted. And I knew when he showed me the foot, the shot of, the still shot of me looking into his security camera at his old mansion, that, maybe it wasn't gonna go the way I had hoped. I was like, oh, security. Okay, this is not necessarily a good thing, but let's see how this goes. I was not going to turn down breakfast. So we went to, he's like, oh, where do you want to go? Where, do you have a place you'd like to go? And I'm like, yeah. And there was a diner. I hadn't been to LA for a little time. And I had a favorite diner right off. I guess was it Sunset? Yeah. And yeah, I love diner food. I love breakfast, and they made a really wonderful omelet that I had them scramble, I think, probably. And yeah, and we sat down. He's like, wow, that's a lot of food. I downed it. I love my omelets. I usually had them scrambled. And yeah, we talked, and I remember us talking, and I'd say, "Oh, I better," I didn't, and he's like, "Just say TC," for Tom Cruise, so because I didn't want people to hear me saying Tom Cruise all the time and know that this is his security person or whatever. And he says, "Just call him TC," and I'm like, "Okay, TC." Anyway, we had a great breakfast. I really liked the guy, and the guy really liked me. But during our conversation, and I made it really clear, look, I have nothing. I mean, I respect his relationship with Katie. I guess by this time it was 2008. It was actually, yeah, it was early 2008. I was saying late. Yeah, it would have been. I guess it could have been early 2009. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in fact, I do think it was early 2009. I believe it was, like January, maybe. And, when we were talking about Tom, um, he was telling me, I was telling him, he knew that I was claiming to be the mother of Surrey. And I corrected him. I'm the biological mother of all of his children, not just Surrey. And he was like really surprised. And I think I might have explained, our childhood together. He's like my cousin, whatever. And and I made it really clear, I'm not interested in going out with him or anything, or marrying him or anything like that. I mean, I know I respect his relationship with Katie. I just thought, I mean, that's why we named her Surrey, for surrogate mother. It's part of a big media event. And I just thought, we'd all be friendly. You know, I can be like an ex-wife who's friendly with my ex-husband. Not that we ever went out, or yes, technically on paper we were married as children, but most people wouldn't count that, but the CIA does. And I, you know, I just thought we could all be friends. You know, I figured, he's got a really big mansion. He and Katie and Surrey and everybody could be on one side. I could be on the other side, and I could be introduced to the world. I could, not worry about money anymore. Have a roof over my head, since I was really struggling at this time in my life. Okay, and um that was my hope. And it's funny because, yeah, I was that guy's roommate, that transgender woman. I was her roommate at that time, right before I left her house to go to California. I first went to Los Angeles, I mean, not Los Angeles, Palo Alto, and reported my father as the Zodiac to the Palo Alto PD. And then I got on a bus and went down to LA. And that's where we are now. So I had just been rooming with this other persona that was Tom Cruise. And there are other times when Tom was around me. There was a woman in my shelter in downtown LA in Skid Row who was like this butch woman that looked like a female Tom Cruise. And I'm pretty sure that was him at the shelter with me, around in my vicinity. And, I I remember at one time I was like covering my hair like a Muslim woman, and I don't know why I was doing that. I don't know. And I just made him laugh once on the street. He was laughing at me because I looked like a little Muslim woman, and I don't know why I was doing that. I don't know if I think I was experimenting with the whole Muslim thing. I didn't ever practice Muslim. I don't know, is it Islam, whatever. I was just experimenting with covering my head like a Muslim woman at one time, and I made him laugh so hard once, walking down the street, and he was this dyke. I used to call him the dyke. It was like a masculine lesbian woman that was at the shelter. It looked just like Tom Cruise. Yeah, I've had quite a lot of incredible life experiences that are kind of funny, but it was really hard living my life. Okay. So, we're having breakfast. I'm having my huge omelet that he can't believe I'm downing, really fast, because I hadn't had one for a long time. And he tells me, well, maybe Tom just really, or TC, just really wants to put this behind him and just wants to forget about this. Let's revisit this article with Nicole Kidman. Where is it? There it is. Okay, I'm there. All right. So, what did Nicole say? Or what did he say about Nicole? This is what really got to me the other day when I found this article. It would seem, okay, Tom Cruise is not happy. It would seem that Nicole Kidman's recent comments on her past have rubbed Tom Cruise the wrong way. A source close to the actor recently spoke to In Touch Weekly about the same, and the actor was not painted in a positive light. They started by mentioning that Cruise was not happy with how frequently the actress has been bringing up their past. Tom doesn't understand why Nicole constantly seems to reference the times they shared together. Even if it is more about the work they did together, it still bothers him because it's so far in the past and something he'd like to forget. They mentioned that even if she's talking about their time together in a professional setting, he does not understand the need for it, wanting to put it in the past and move on. They even allege that the actor would like to forget what happened and does not need a constant reminder of it. He said goodbye to that chapter of his life so long ago and doesn't understand why she can't do the same, especially since she's supposedly so happy with Keith. The source even went as far as to claim that Kidman needs to move on from that chapter of her life like Cruise has. They also brought up her marriage to Keith Urban, whom she has been together for 18 years. Yeah. It really reminded me of what this guy, I'm going to tell you, he was not a security guy. The guy that Bert Field sicked on me. Let me bring it up. Hollywood. Hold on just a minute. I'm going to bring him up in a minute. Where is he? Oh, I don't see a picture of him here in Wikipedia. Let's see where I want to get a picture of him. Let's see, maybe, I don't know, images I won't know. Investigating Hollywood's fixer. That's New York Times. Let's see. Here we go. Is that him? I just gave it away, didn't I? Oh, where is he? I want to get a picture. Well, I could just go to my favorite podcast, right? Is that him? Well, I don't know. I think this is the guy. Is that him? I don't know if this is him. I guess I just need to look up Cato and Tom Zenner's podcast. Well, their YouTube. 1 degree scandalous. Is that what it's called? Sorry, I'm taking so long with this. There's on podcast 1, but let's do YouTube so you can see it. Okay, let me share I know I have I haven't shared it yet, so let me share it now. There we go. Oh, right. All right, so let's see where it is. He did it. Yes, he did. For you, shorts, videos. Here are the videos. I haven't watched this lately. Money Monster. They've been covering other things lately. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait. I didn't mean to add that, whatever that was. Okay. Okay. This is the guy. He fixes celebrity sex scandal problems. Paul Baresi. That's it. Yeah, the other guy, that wasn't, I thought this guy was the Hollywood fixer, and he is. That's what they refer to him as. But his name is Paul Baresi. It says the Hollywood yeah, here he is. being called the Hollywood Fixer. The Hollywood Fixer, Paul Baresi, has built a successful 4-decade career working in Hollywood and Los Angeles' underbelly. He's the guy the A-list stars and celebrities go to when they have no other place to turn. And he delivers results discreetly, but oh so effectively. The household names he's helped, usually without their knowledge, are a who's who of pop culture, including Tom Cruise, thank you, Johnny Depp, Eddie Murphy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sharon Stone, Barry Bonds, and many more. Find out how a tough guy from Boston ended up in Tinseltown doing what he does and providing a service that will always be needed. Tom Zenner and Kato Kalin guide this journey, which entertainment fans will find absolutely fascinating. This is a can't miss episode for aficionados of the true crime and pop culture scandal. J. Paul's new book takes readers on an incredible journey into the epicenter of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's and the Amber Heard scandal and trial. Here's the link to purchase the book. So this is the guy right here. Now, he was blonde back then. We're talking like how many years ago? So it was 2000, early 2009, January of 2009, I believe it would have been. And that we're in 2024. So is that okay? So I have to do this. 2019 is 10 years, and 2019 is that 15 years ago, right? 2019 would have been 10, and then yeah. Well, I guess in January it'll be 16 years, right? Yeah, I believe. Yeah, he did. Yeah, this is him, definitely. So that's who Burt Field sicked me with, the Hollywood Fixer. And this is the guy I had lunch with. I mean, breakfast with, excuse me. I'm going to just, well, I guess I could, here, why don't I just do it like this? Yeah, this is the guy I had breakfast with, and I just remember that moment when he said, well, maybe Tom wants to put this behind him and forget about it and go on with his life. And I'm like, what? No, he would never put me behind him and go on with his life. I made him the movie star he is. I'm his cousin. I'm the mother of all 3 of his children. What? He wants to just forget about me? And this is the same thing he's telling Nicole Kidman in the article I just showed you. And this guy, you should watch this pod. I mean, I watch it on YouTube because you can see them, and I like seeing the people that are talking. You should watch it on YouTube. It's called Tom Zenner Scandal. Just put it in and watch it. Yeah, because he kind of alludes to certain celebrities and Tom Cruise. Oh, he says something. He talks about Tom Cruise in this podcast that there's something off about him. He said something like that. And he kind of alludes to like what I'm talking about, like, because he witnessed this. Okay. And he was referring to me anyway. Back then in 2009, I just remember being so shocked at like the thought of Tom Cruise just wanting to forget me and put me behind him, just like he's telling Nicole Kidman, let's put this behind us, we're done here. Well, first of all, Nicole Kidman is a happily married woman and she's secure in her marriage. Why can't she talk about what she wants to talk about in her past? And I find it really shocking that Tom Cruise would ever think that Nicole Kidman is trying to rekindle anything with him when, I think I think somebody put her up to this so that Claire would notice it and realize, oh, maybe my moment has come. I mean, for real this time. Like back in 2009, it wasn't time yet. And I thought it was going to happen. Then I thought it was going to happen so many times over the years. It's not even funny. And so you can't blame me for wondering what's going to happen on my birthday, October 21st. There's a big thing going on that day that, it's my birthday and something was scheduled for that day. And I'm just kind of curious to know what's going to happen. I mean, is that my declassification date? You can't blame me for wondering if maybe it's not, if it's just another day like it always is. I always get my hopes up and I'm always disappointed. And, I don't know. We'll see. Um, I don't know. But, it'll make it, I'll be so thrilled if it is, um, I'll be so thrilled. But yeah, in 2009, I really impressed this guy. Okay, this guy thought he was just managing some kind of crazy fan lunatic. He thought I was some groupie fan, crazed fan, whatever. And Burt Fields just like, I mean, I don't know why you would get the Hollywood fixer. This, I mean, I think he's very expensive. Why would you get the Hollywood fixer if I was some crazed fan? You'd sick the police on me, right? If I was a crazed fan. No, they sick the Hollywood fixer on me. This is when they have like a situation that's really a problem for their celebrity, and if it's kind of like, okay, get rid of this person, like pay him off, do whatever you need to do. So because we can't have this come out or it'll ruin the celebrities, our celebrities image, ruin his career, whatever. I mean, that's when you sick the Hollywood fixer on somebody. And that's what he did. He was not a security guy. It was this guy. He was a lot younger. I mean, that, like I said, it was like almost 16 years ago. We're all a lot older at this point. And he had blonde hair back then. I know he probably dyed it. He didn't have all the facial hair either. Really big guy, I remember. And we really he was really nice to me and we talked a long time, and I could tell he was a private, after a while he wasn't just some security guy. He was an investigator. He was a private investigator. I could really he was asking all kinds of questions. He was, probing. He was doing his psychological analysis of me, and he explains this in this podcast too. And that's what he was doing on me, and I could tell, and he was so impressed with me, and I was thrilled that he was impressed with me because I'm not a stalker. Like, I think that's what he thought. He was dealing with one of Tom Cruise's stalkers, and I did not fit the profile at all. I totally impressed him, and he was convinced that I was different. And he told me so. I think you're different. I'm going to put that in my report. And I'm like, oh, you're going to write a report on me? And he's like, yeah, I do that with all my assignments. And, clearly that's a private investigator. I didn't know he was the famous Hollywood fixer here, but anyway, yeah, I gave him all my pieces of identification to show that I changed my name to Cruise, and I figured they would need it, and he probably didn't know why he was taking it. They probably wanted it because of my money. My money that Tom has is in the Claire Cruise name probably, and he needed all that identification for banking purposes. And I probably intuitively knew that. And yeah, I remember we went to the local, I don't know, what is it? I forget what they're called over there. Here, they're FedEx. It was probably a FedEx. And copied everything. I had like my birth certificate, I had my name change papers, I had my ID, I had everything that they would have ever wanted, my social security card, all that stuff. And then And then he, and at breakfast before we went off to copy all my identification, he asked me, where do I want to go? That they would like to pay for me to get, for the Greyhound, and he wanted to know where I wanted to go. And I'm like, really? I think he said, what would you like? He didn't say that. He said, where? Let me put myself up here a little more. Okay. He said, where at? What he actually said was, where? What would you like Tom to do for you? Tom would like to do something for you, and I'm like, okay. I would like to go to Atlanta. Will you pay? I want him. Will he please pay for my Greyhound bus to Atlanta? And he's like, oh, I'm sure I could do that for you. Hold on. Let me just get on the phone here. And he had to make a call. And yeah, and they're like, hey, okay, no problem. He'll pay for your trip to your Greyhound bus to Atlanta. I wasn't going to ask for anything more. That's all I needed. And, and I'm like, okay, great. And we went to the bus after we copied everything. We went to the bus station, and he bought my ticket for me, and he sat with me as we waited for the bus. And he was showing me pictures on his phone of his apartment, or I don't know what it was. I guess he was in real estate, and he'd gotten some property, or I don't know. And he was showing me pictures of an apartment he had acquired. It wasn't anything special. It was just, he was telling me a story about it. And I don't know. I just remember some pictures of a vacant apartment or a house maybe. And yeah, he was telling me about stuff, and he really, he was like, I really hope you keep in touch with me. I really, I would like to keep in touch with you. I really think that Tom is going to be impressed, and blah, blah, and I think he'll want me to keep in touch with you. And I'm like, okay, whatever, okay. And I was considering that might be a good thing. But I was just a little miffed. I told him, I think I told him at the breakfast table that I really think he should pay for, he should fly me to Atlanta. I think I should go in his private jet. I don't, people are going to be laughing that he paid for my Greyhound bus. It takes like 3 days to get to Atlanta from Los Angeles or something like that, and you're up 24 hours, it's nonstop, and you have to get off the bus and get back on it, sometimes in the middle of the night. And it's, I told him I really think he should have like flown me to Atlanta. But he's like, well, don't you think it's nice that he's paying for your Greyhound bus trip at least? I'm like, yeah, it's nice, but he should have flown me in his private jet. I think that would have been a little more respectful. But yeah, I'll take what I can get. I'm happy. That's all I wanted was him to pay for my Greyhound, and I'm happy. I'm happy he's doing that. Thank you very much. And then he said, do you have any, when we were at the bus station waiting for the bus, so do you have any money for food? And I'm like, no. I hadn't thought about it. I was like, no, I spent all my money coming down here. And he's like, well, how are you going to eat? You need some food. You need some money for food. And I'm like, okay, he's like, I'm going to give you some money so you can buy some snacks for yourself. And I'm like, well, that's really nice of you. Thank you. And then the bus came, and I'm like saying goodbye. Okay, bye. And he's like, hey, I need to give you your money for your snacks. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. I totally forgot. I did, if they hadn't given me money for snacks, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, like 3 days, it was going to take 3 days to get to Atlanta, and I had no money. And I don't know what I was going to do when I got to Atlanta. I guess I was going to check into a shelter or something, but getting there, I would have starved. I mean, I had a nice big breakfast 3 days before. I guess I wouldn't have died. I probably could have gotten, I probably had $1 or something. I don't know, to get some or a container that I could put water in so I wouldn't be dehydrated or die of thirst. But yeah, I wouldn't have had anything to eat. I mean, I guess I was just really I spent all my money because I was just so sure that Tom Cruise was gonna like take care of me. I was so sure of it. I'm his cousin. I'm the mother of all his children. I mean, of course he's gonna like make sure I'm okay. And that's what he told me. The Hollywood fixer, when I was having breakfast with him, he told me that Tom, you know, wanted to make sure I was okay. But that's what he said. But Tom, after he told me like he just wants to put this behind him and forget about it, like he told Nicole just in that article just now. What, Dean?
Can you stop?
What?
Can you stop?
What? I'm telling a story.
Just stop.
Stop about what?
Embarrassing things that happen to your life, and people did you wrong, and everything else. And you married somebody who was 40, 60 years older than you were.
Wait, what are you saying? I'm just telling the story,
You
so
sound
it's
like a
public.
mental case.
All right. Yeah, I think Dean is upset about the way I was treated. Yeah, it wasn't just me that was a little slightly disturbed about it, right? Yeah, it's not really great. I mean, big mega movie star and, but okay, I'm going to get to why I'm putting it out there that we are here for Tom Cruise because, and I'm serious about that, because all that I wanted was for him and Katie Holmes to be there for me. That was it. I was not trying to break up anybody's marriage. I just didn't have a family anymore. And that was like he's somebody who is supposed to be my family. I mean the family I grew up with were, already out of my life, they didn't care about me. They had already thrown me away. And I thought, okay, well, maybe Tom Cruise can be my family. I don't want to marry him or anything. He's already married. He's got his Katie Holmes now. Yeah, there was a time when I did want to marry him. I mean, didn't remember I was already married to him since childhood, whatever. I I don't know. I went through different phases at different times. But, I made it really clear to the Hollywood fixer guy. I just thought we could all be friends here, and it was a big media event. That's all that this was about. I'm not and he took me to this Hollywood fixer guy. He's testing me to see how much I know about Tom Cruise. He was trying to find his star. He thought I would know where his Hollywood star was on I guess is it Sunset, and I had no idea. I had no idea. And he's like, oh, where, he was calling up his partner, trying to figure out where his Hollywood star was. And I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. We don't need to, because he wanted to take a picture of me, right? And he thought it would be really cute to do it in front of his Hollywood star. And I know he was testing me to see if I knew where his Hollywood star was. No, I'm not a crazy fan of Tom Cruise. I don't know where his Hollywood star is. And he, we looked and looked and looked and we couldn't find it. And, later I found out, or I happened to find it by accident. It's right in front of that Chinese theater. Of course, right? And we were right there. It was right there. I don't know how we missed it. And he took a picture. Yeah, he took a picture of me, and I remember my hat was really high up, and he must have like telepathically told me, "Oh, push down your hat," because my hat was too tall and it looked funny, and I pulled it down. And I don't know. I guess Isabel. I call her in my mind. She's Isabella, but she's Bella Cruz, and Connor probably had a picture of me, with my little hat on in front of the Chinese theater. Oh, I think his star is across the street from the theater, right? We were looking next to the theater. Somebody said, "Oh, it's around the theater." And I don't know. And I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. I don't care. And I'm in front of the theater, and I think his star, I found out later, I happened upon it by accident years later, and I'm like, "Oh, there's his star." It's across the street from the Chinese theater. But anyway, yeah, he snapped a picture, anyway. And yeah, and at the bus, he was really impressed that I forgot to ask for that money for snacks along the way. And I really don't know. I just wasn't thinking of money. I was really, to be honest, I was, besides being flabbergasted that I got such a personal response from, I mean, it wasn't direct from Tom Cruise, but it was pretty direct. In fact, he might have had an earpiece in his ear and Tom might have been talking to him. I don't know. Or somebody was talking to him and telling him what Tom was saying. I don't know. He probably had a camera on his glasses. I don't, was he wearing glasses? He might have been. I don't know. Anyway, this is what people like this do. Yeah, and I just totally forgot. I was flabbergasted by the whole experience. It's not every day you get a response from Tom Cruise's team. I mean, it was all that I mean, in a lot of ways, it was all that I ever wanted. And I was floored and I was so happy that I got a response at last. And at the same time, I was hurt. I was really hurt that Tom Cruise just wanted to throw me away. The biological mother of all his children, the the cousin he grew up with. How could he just want to throw me away? I mean, I was just flabbergasted by that too. And so I really wasn't thinking about money. I really wasn't. And this impressed the Hollywood fixer. I'm not about money. I've never been about money. Um, clearly, or I'd have a lot by now. I'd have my money by now, I guess. I don't know. If only I had cared more about money when I was younger, I wouldn't have ever lost touch with it. It was because I ran away from money when I was young. And here I am, age almost 59. Money is like, it's one of the most important things in my life, and I don't have any. The fact that I don't have any is so painful. Okay, so anyway, so he was really impressed that I forgot about the money, and he had to he had to remind me and pull me back and give me a wad of cash, I don't remember how much it was. It was like, I don't know, maybe it was $50, $20 to $50, something like it was not like $2 or anything. It was a good amount of money, to help me along my journey. Probably about, I would say it was maybe $50. And I really appreciated that. That was really nice. And I don't know what I would have done if he hadn't given me that money, honestly. Because that's a long bus ride from Los Angeles to Atlanta. Very long ride. And before I left, his partner showed up and had a piece of paper he wanted me to sign. And the Hollywood fixer, he didn't want me to sign it. And I'm like, let me read it. And I read it, and it was basically a statement, obviously probably written by Burt Fields himself, or yeah, probably. And it said, I, Claire Elizabeth Fields Cruz, do hereby, agree to not have any contact with Tom Cruise or his family, or step foot on any one of his properties. And oh, it's not just Tom Cruise and his family, and all his friends and associates. Okay. And I read that, and the Hollywood fixer was like, no, you don't have to sign that. And I'm like, no, I'll sign this. And I signed it. There wasn't enough room for my Claire Elizabeth Fields Cruz. I had legally changed my name at this point, right? You know this, right? I mean, obviously you know this. And I had to change it back to my maiden name. My maiden name is Claire Elizabeth Elliott. That is my legal name, and was at birth, and is now, even though I'm married to Dean Wayne Boyd. But anyway, I signed. I said no. I'm just fine signing this. And of course, what does that mean? This is the way they. His partner was like, "Oh, make sure you stay in touch with us." Yeah, I'm gonna stay in touch with you after signing that piece of paper that said, I agree to not have any contact with Tom Cruise, his family, friends, or associates. Yeah, you're associates of Tom Cruise. This is how they set people up when they want to like hit, um, they set them up for a restraining order by doing that, right? Like, oh yeah, make sure you keep in touch with us. Yeah, you just signed a piece of paper saying you won't be in touch with us, but make sure you stay in touch. I'm not stupid. And the Hollywood Fixer didn't want me to sign it, after spending the whole morning with me because he wanted to stay in touch with me. He really thought that there was a place for me in Tom Cruise's life. I know he thought that. And but I'm like, no, I don't mind signing it, honestly. And I knew what it meant. It meant that I'll never speak to the Hollywood Fixer again. I mean, of course, I didn't know he was the Hollywood Fixer, and it wouldn't have made a difference if I had known he was. I knew he was a private investigator. That's all I knew. I knew he was investigating me and the whole thing. And I didn't have any problem. I was really hurt that Tom Cruise wanted to forget about me forever. I mean, I'm the reason he became a movie star. I was his producer. I was one of them. And to think that somebody who owes his whole career to me, I mean, and others, of course, yes, would just want to throw me away and just want me to remain homeless on the streets all alone without a family, with nothing, while he lives in his little cushy mansion with his children, my children, including his own wife, who is one of my genetic children, his grandchild, married his granddaughter. Yeah, I know genetically it's really weird, this genetic talk. I know. But they didn't grow up with being a grandpa and a granddaughter, okay? They didn't. I didn't grow up with him as my father either. It's just a social, the social relationships mean more than the genetic ones in many ways. Um, and because at least my genetics are so varied, I have many, many fathers, and that gives me many, many layers of DNA, and it's so varied. There's no issue um, you know, of birth defects that would happen if a typical person um was breeded with their brother, sister, father, grandfather, whatever, when the inbreeding is not as much of an issue when you have the kind of DNA that I have. Um, so anyway, so that's the story of Tom Cruise. I never contacted him again, never shut. I was so hurt. And when somebody hurts me like that, I just block them out. That's it. Never, I was so hurt and never again. And the good thing about the little statement I signed, and I don't have it anymore. They gave me a copy. I don't have it anymore. The good thing about it is that it didn't say anything about me talking about them in public. I was free to speak. I could speak freely about Tom, say anything I wanted about him, his family, anybody, right? That did not restrict me from speaking freely. It just restricted me from going to where he lived or his office, his business, whatever, and having any contact with his family, friends, associates. That's it. And I didn't have a problem with that. Once Tom made it really clear he wanted to forget about me and wanted to throw me away, I had no need to contact him, his friends, his associates. I had no need for any of them anymore. It was like, thank you. Thank you, Hollywood Fixer, for fixing my understanding of Tom Cruise, It was like, wow, okay. Now I understand. Wow, I'm shocked, but okay. And yeah, and when I heard I was shocked when Katie Combs left him in 2012. It was before I got married too. I wasn't married. But Dean, I guess it was 2012. Yeah, it was before I met Dean. Dean wasn't even in my life. I had a young boyfriend. And but yeah, I was just like, serves him right. See, but and yeah, and I've never even given it a second thought. I've just always been really hurt that he just wanted to throw me away like that. And he said the exact same thing to Nicole Kidman. I went on with my life. Why can't you? Why are you bringing up all this old stuff? And you know, it sounds like Tom Cruise needs a little more auditing, right? I mean, it sounds like, he's moved on with his life. Why is he so upset? Why is he rubbed the wrong way over his ex-wife bringing up a professional situation with Stanley Kubrick? What is the issue here? She is free to speak about her professional life. I mean, it's one thing to speak about something private, and it's another to speak about life on the set with your ex-husband. What's the big deal? Do we live in communist China or something? That's a control freak that wants to control what everyone says about him. Why? What are you not over Nicole Kidman, Tom? Does it bring up old feelings? Are you afraid you're going to get your hopes up and and you're going to get hurt or something? What's the situation with that? I think she's a happily married woman. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's been married a long time. When you're married a long time, it's, your marriage is pretty solid if you're married for 18 years and you have 2 kids together and, um, but one thing that really came together for me, I think it was just today that I realized this. I realized why he wanted to throw me away so bad, why he wanted to go on with his life and disregard me. And but he wanted to make sure I was okay, is what I was told by the Hollywood Fixer. He wanted to make sure I was okay. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm fine. I'm homeless, but I'm okay. I'm going to Atlanta, and all the money I have is the $50 you gave me for snacks on the bus. And when I get to Atlanta, I'm checking into another homeless shelter and looking into another situation in Atlanta. That's why I wanted you to send me to Atlanta, because there's my money's in Atlanta, and I wanted to try another option. I wanted to try another, I was just trying to I've been brainstorming every way I can think of to get my money, up in all these years, since I could remember it. I've been racking my brain. What do I need to do? What do they want me to do? What is it that they're waiting for? For a long time, I didn't understand that I was classified. It took a while to remember that. And then I understood. And then I kept thinking, okay, they told me, because they first told me 20 years, and then they told me 25, and then they told me 28. And I thought that was it. And then 30. They went, it's a memory experiment. They told me at different times in different ways, and it's another CIA memory experiment to see what I remember first. It's, all their scientists are studying memory, and I'm a really good subject for that. Yeah. But the reason why he wanted to get rid of me so bad is because when he was married to Nicole Kidman, apparently Stanley Kubrick, who is Daddy, an alternate persona of Daddy, Clint Eastwood, and I know that's hard to believe, but it is true. Daddy is a psychiatrist and psychologist, and he is the founder of Scientology. Okay, it's based on Nichiren Buddhism, Scientology, and he's a psychiatrist. And I know that it's just so ironic, since Scientologists are so opposed to psychiatry. That was L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was the poster boy. Okay, he was just a bad science fiction writer that Daddy recruited, because he's one of my genetic fathers. Another one, L. Ron Hubbard, and I spent time with him too. And Yeah. So daddy is, he's specialized, he actually, I know this is going to sound really weird. This is what's coming to mind, and I'm going to say it, and I know it sounds really weird, but daddy is the person who talked Hitler into committing suicide at the end of World War II, ending World War II. I just want you to know this. My daddy is he's a master psychologist, psychiatrist, and he talked Hitler into committing suicide. That was the best thing for his life because of what he did with that life. And that was the end of World War II. And I just want everyone to know this. And I know it's hard to imagine Clint Eastwood being the guy that did that, but I know Clint Eastwood is a persona. Daddy is much more than just Clint Eastwood. That's daddy. That's the persona of daddies who still lives, because, I'm one of daddy's many children, clearly. Um, and he's my father many times over too. It's not every father that's my father many times over. And he was he was Queen Elizabeth's older twin, firstborn twin. Okay. Just so you understand where he is in the birth order of things. And so he's more my daddy than anybody else. I think Jesus Christ is also my daddy more, a number of times over. I didn't want to mention that, but I will. But daddy, I believe, is more my parent than anyone, except for my grandma. My grandma they had to, well, she's the only mother I had. And to capture all her IQ, they had to have all these many fathers. And daddy he outnumbers all the other fathers. He's my father many times over. So he's more my father than any other man in existence. Okay. Clint Eastwood. All right. So it was when I read this article, and I think I reviewed it today, that I understood, oh, so that's why he wanted to get rid of me, because I was the problem with him and Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman made it really clear that their marriage was tight, and good when they filmed that last movie together, Eyes Wide Shut. It was I guess they must have filmed it in 98, right? It came out in 99. And then 2000, it was 2 more years after it came out that they split in 2001, 2 years. And it was around then that I encountered Tom Cruise in Glendale, where I lived, in another body, in disguise, whatever. And I didn't remember him. And I guess, he ruined his marriage, and I didn't even remember him, right? And he didn't, I think he truly loved Nicole, and Nicole truly loved them. They had true love. I think they were a really good couple together, and I was really sad that they got divorced. I'm, not remembering Tom and knowing he was in my past. Okay. And and for them to break up like that over a triangle. She said a triangle. Stanley Kubrick was inspired by their true life story and wrote this movie, which is a really dark movie, by the way, with them in mind, and their love triangle in mind. And I wrote the dialogue for, I guess, in the movie, Vanessa Shaw plays the prostitute that Tom has this thing with, or something. I don't know. I haven't watched the movie recently. I watched it semi recently. But yeah, that was me. She was playing me. I'm not a prostitute. I know a lot of people, the the CIA treats me like one, but I've never been paid one penny for anything. I was a victim. I was raped. There's a difference between rape and prostitution. And prostitution, somebody has a woman is giving her consent and she's getting paid. I never gave my consent and nobody paid me a penny. So, I mean, that's not prostitution, that's slavery, that's rape. But anyway, I think for the first time, I really understand now, why he was wanting to throw me away. He, you know, his, because I didn't know we were a triangle with Nicole. I didn't even remember him. And then he's with she wasn't Katie Cruz, Katie Holmes. I was Claire Cruz at the time. And I guess that was going to be a problem. I thought it was all I mean, I agreed when I was a child to change my name to Cruz in the future. And I finally did it when I could remember to do it. And yeah, Katie was Holmes and I was Cruz. Okay. But I guess it was going to be a problem. I mean, he feared the end of another marriage if I came into the picture. And I don't know, maybe I don't know. I didn't understand. I just didn't understand at the time. I was just so hurt. I didn't understand what happened with him and Nicole, that it was related to me. I mean, I knew that I had later when I figured out that it was him, I figured out that, oh, okay, so he connected with me right after his divorce. And yes, maybe I did see a link in that way. But I don't know, somehow I didn't connect that he just didn't want the same thing to happen with Katie Holmes that happened with Nicole. And now I can understand. I mean, it was just, I think it was really, maybe even today, that when I was talking to Dean about it, that I finally understand why he just wanted to throw me away like that. Anyway, all I wanted was for him and Katie Holmes to be there for me. And so, even though Dean is really upset at how I've been treated over the years, by people who have plenty, I mean, it's just disgusting that I was made to be homeless. It's disgusting, that everybody I made famous with my money and my work and as a producer, etc., and a writer would live so lavishly. I mean, Tom always lives in these huge mansions. He just goes over the top. And he sends me on my way in a Greyhound to, cross country, I mean, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I did, that's all I really wanted. It would have been nice though if he had surprised me with a little more than that. Okay, he's Tom Cruise. He's got zillions of my dollars, not only his that I made possible. I made it his career I was one of the people who made his career possible, and he knows this. In addition to his zillions that I made possible for him by helping make him into the movie star that is Tom Cruise, he also has all this other mountains of my money. He's the person who's been married on paper to me the longest, aside from maybe I was married to my father, Dennis Elliott, in England when I was 13. I guess it's very possible I was married to him in America at this time, 1975, when I was married to Daisaku Ikeda. I was married to Daisaku Ikeda in 1974. And I think I was married to my father again at that time too. This is CIA bullshit. Okay. This is why the CIA cannot continue to exist, because this is sick bullshit. And it's all for the purpose of the man getting money. I mean, that's how Daisaku Ikeda got money to pour into the organization and build it into what it is, right? It's my money. It's my organization. And, my father, I don't know what the hell he did with his money, that's how he, that's why they married him to me too. I mean, it's so sick, my own father. And yeah, once, twice, and yeah, so aside from my father, Dennis Wayne Elliott, and Daisaku Ikeda, my father, Daisaku Ikeda, Tom is the person, and both my father and Daisaku Ikeda are now dead. It's Tom who has been married to me on paper the longest. I mean, I did, you wouldn't think that would count, me being 9 years old and him being turning 13 that day, but that's the situation. So it was just, I mean, even though I understand he wanted to protect his marriage, I guess at that point they were married, his marriage to Katie, he didn't want it to turn into the divorce that like it did with Nicole Kidman. It's still just really shocking that he wanted to just throw me away, just if you don't mind, I'd like to continue, I'd like to have my life in my mansion and with your children and your money and yeah, and married to one of your children, I just like to have that, and just do your own thing, and go continue being homeless while I live in my mega mansion with all your riches and all your children. It's just kind of shocking, that somebody could do that, And I know my husband, Dean, in the next room it's a little shocking to him. But at the same time, I know Tom really needs a friend. All I wanted was for him and Katie Holmes to be there for me when I really needed a family, when I really needed friends, when I really needed someone. Because I didn't have anybody, and I just have Dean now, and thank goodness for Dean. Can you understand why I will never abandon Dean? Do you know how much Dean means to me? He's the only one that's ever been there for me, ever. Every other man has abandoned me in some way or another. They've been taken from me. The CIA sabotages each and every one of my relationships. The CIA wants me isolated on like Nichiren Daishonin, and they put me on Sado Island and cut off all my everybody. But see, Dean, because of his bloodlines, he has authority, the kind of authority that they can't mess with, and they can't do to him what they were able to do to other men that were in my life. And that's why I needed to, I guess that's why they introduced us and got us together and got us to get, set it up so we'd get married. I didn't have any idea that was in the cards, but it it was the only thing that seemed to work for me. So I went with it. And who better, he was my best friend. Who better to marry than my best friend? I mean, that's who you should marry. Marriage is you better be best friends if you're going to marry someone. It the sex and the lust and passion, that's just temporary. That's nothing, that has nothing to do with marriage. I'm sorry. It just doesn't, that's for people on the side. I mean, hopefully you don't cheat on your spouse, but I'm just saying, it's that's a to keep things passionate, people can't have too much contact with one another. You know, part of passion grows when you're separated. You can't be together all the time and keep passion going. So you better be best friends. First and foremost, your spouse is your companion, your life companion, your best friend. And if you don't that's what a good marriage is based on. It's not based on sex, it's not based on any of the stuff that people think it is. And really, if you marry somebody who's who you have a very passionate sex life with, um that sex life is gonna ebb and flow. It's not gonna stay the same. Being having so much contact with one person kind of it's not the environment for passion. Passion grows with a little more separation. It's just not. You want to have somebody you really get along with. And Dean and I, um we're very compatible in a lot of ways, but you're never going to be completely compatible. There are things, his family has been my biggest issue. His family's control of him. And I left my family. I left them as soon as I was legally able to. And it has been such torture to see someone not be able to leave his family. Of course he had a very disabled, retarded brother that needed like 24/7 nursing care. And it changes everything in a family when a family has to take care of somebody with so many needs. And it was the way his mother controlled him and controlled everyone. And um it's complicated, but it's still it's been torture for me. I really thought she'd be down the street, and as long as she didn't show up at my house, we'd be good, but it didn't really end up that way. It's almost like I married Alda Boyd, and Dennis Boyd down the street, my brother-in-law. It really is. And they would be, without needless to say, I would never want to marry my mother-in-law. And I certainly would never have wanted to marry Dean's twin. He's so different from Dean. They're similar, but they're very different too. And Dean's the more functional twin. And you know ugh, I just since Dennis's accident in 2016, he's just never been the same. And he never really had the heart of Dean that Dean has. But boy, does he lack a heart today. His heart has died. Whatever he had of a heart, it is gone. That part of his brain is injured. He had brain injury after the wreck, and it seems to get worse every year. It really seems to. I think that it compounds over time. Some brain injury. I'm not saying all brain injury does, but it seems like his did. But back to Tom Cruise. We're here for you, Tom. Aren't we, Dean? Right, Dean? I thought I heard him. Dean? We're here for you. Dean is upset about the way I've always been treated in the past. And, thank goodness for Dean. My people put him in my life when I didn't know I needed him. I didn't know how close to disaster I was when Dean came into my life. I really did not know. Had I known, maybe I, wouldn't have been able to handle it. I was in denial, and thank goodness for Dean. And I'm a very loyal person. I will never, ever be able to forget how Dean was there when I really needed him. Everybody else ditched me, left me in the dust. Dean, he showed up right on time when I really needed somebody. And I didn't know I needed somebody. He knew, but I didn't. I don't know where I'd be right now without Dean. So, anyone who thinks that I'm using him or somehow or that I'm ever going to abandon him, they're wrong. There's no one. There is, I could never, ever forget what Dean has done for me ever. And, Dean and I, we've gone through hell together with everything. And I'll never forget how he was there when no one else was. When I needed someone most, he was there. Everybody else failed me. Everyone else, including Tom Cruise. But Dean was there for me. And I am devoted to him, until death do us part. I just want that to be clear. I really long for us to have a good life, a stress-free, calm, beautiful life together. We've gone through hell, and I want us to go through heaven. I want us to have. I want all this hell to be to be. I want all this hell to have been to make it. I want it to be worth it. I want us to reap the fruits of our labor. I want all that hell to make sense and be, yield something, the other side. I don't know. I'm having a hard time expressing it, but I want us to have a good life at long last, because we've had such a hard time. It's been so hard for us. And we deserve a good life together. I want Dean to have that. He deserves it. He's earned it. I want us together to have that. Oh my God, I've been on for 4 hours. Oh my God. Wow, this is my longest live stream ever. It's a very intense topic, a very intense subject. But Tom Cruise, we're here for you. I really do think that you need a friend, a couple friends, real friends. You've been this mega movie star since you were 19 years old, since 1981. You're just so used to things a certain way. It's been a long time since you've, I'm sure you've been around normal people. Sure. I don't know. I just think you need some normal friends. You need two more normal friends. I know we're not normal, but you need these two friends. Okay, you do. I think you've made enough movies. I think you need a break. You need to retire. I know, I look at Brad Pitt and George Clooney, and gosh, Matt Damon has made a lot of movies. He's made more movies than any of them. I was really surprised at that. I just feel like, Brad Pitt has been a lot more. I think of Brad Pitt and George Clooney as, they're pals. They're similar, and they seem to be healthier. And it seems like they've balanced their movie star lives a little better than Tom. Tom, you just push yourself too hard, and it's like you're trying to compete with your younger self. You're 62 years old, and you've had the most successful career of anyone in Hollywood, I think. And I think it's time for you to step back a little more. I feel like it's time for you to slow down. Everything's not a race. Not everything is a competition. You know, I know Scientology teaches you that life is like a game and all that. Yeah, okay. But sometimes you need to sit out. You know, you need to be on the you know, you need, like, you've been the star of the game for like how many decades now? I mean, 1981. I don't know how many years ago that is, but it's like 50 plus years, right? What do you say? Retire. Yeah. Dean is telling you to retire. Dean retired a long time. Well, he was forced to retire at age 50. He's now 63, 1 year older than you, Tom. Tom, when is his birthday? July 3rd. Okay. Dean's is February 3rd. You're both threes. Yeah.
2 weeks after JFK had his inauguration speech. And 1 day before Jackie Kennedy took the kids to the White House.
Yeah. You're talking about your birthday. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They went
So
to the White House on February 4th, 1961.
Okay, this little girl's getting into my food. No, little girl. Oh.
You probably need it too.
Yes. That's why she's getting into it. No, Sandy. Okay, so we're here for you, right, Dean? We're here for Tom Cruise. It's time for you to slow down and retire. I mean, look, you know, George Clooney and Brad Pitt, you know, you know, of course, Brad Pitt, he was planning ahead a long time ago. He's got his production company, had it with Jennifer Aniston, who was me, by the way. And it is me at 8 years old. Actually, she's my body clone. Of course, she's much thinner than me. But that's my body. There are body clones. Oh. Dino he just always says what he thinks I want to hear all the time. He thinks I'm some ego.
Nothing but the truth.
He just thinks I'm some egomaniac and that he needs to like compliment me all the time. I don't need to hear compliments all the time. I'm not a narcissist egomaniac.
Everybody does.
All right. Thank you, Dean.
Everybody needs to hear a kind word.
All right. Thank you, Dean.
Right? Well, who you are.
Anyway. Dean retired, was forced to retire at age 50, and he didn't really retire because he was working down the street, like not getting paid, but working down the street for practically free. You know, and then his mother wonders why we're so tight. We have to pay bills down here. We don't have free room and board like Dennis, you know. We got to pay bills here, you know, and $50 a week doesn't cut it, okay? And $10, $20 for yard work. For fixing the pipes. Here's $10, Dean. It doesn't cut it in today's world. I mean, $200 to $300 a month. We have more bills than that, to say the least. So who do you think paid those bills? Hello. It was Claire. Okay, I was the only one with an income all those years until Dean started getting his Social Security check. Okay, and just before his mother died.
Finally.
Yeah. February, well, it was actually April when you started receiving it. Yeah. Up until then, it was me who was paying all the bills and making all the money. And I got Dean a job with my gig, so he made some money too, but that was thanks to me. Yeah. So, you know, I just want everyone to know that. But yeah, Dean was forced to retire from CVS. He worked in a warehouse in North Augusta, right? Age 50. Tom, you're 62. And I think that everybody What?
He was
Okay,
trying-
but that's a different
he was
subject. I don't want to
trying-
get too much
he
into
was
it. I do
trying
go
to
off
force
topic.
me to get rid of me. I said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Re-
They would have
let me
fired you,
explain
but
something
you
to
didn't let
okay?
them.
Let me
Yeah.
explain this to you, okay?
Mhm,
The
mhm.
hitch here is 30 years. And
Yeah.
I gave 31, so I'm retiring.
Right.
You're not
Right.
firing my ass. I'm
Right.
retiring.
Right.
I did an extra
That's
year.
it's the warehouse industry. They
They way out and on 1 hour tire and throw it.
right. And like how hot was it in the
Oh
warehouse?
my God.
Okay, hurry up. I'm just
between 130 to 160 degrees.
that was the
And working 10, 12, 14,
I
16 hours.
okay, I don't want to get too far into it, okay?
Right.
You're getting too far, but
Right.
I just want to sum it up. Basically 140 to 160 degrees. He had to work in conditions like that.
12, 14 hours a day.
12, 14-hour days. This is I can't believe this is legal in the United States of America. And then they work you to death. And then if you end up surviving for 31 years, they can't wait to get rid of you because they want to pay like some new person $5 an hour, and he was making much more than that. And they're pushing him out the door. And he's like, oh, not so fast. I'm retiring. And that's what you did. They didn't fire him. He retired age 50, worn out, because of all the repetitive work that he was doing. His body wore out. Every human body does if you're doing the same repetitive tasks every day. And yeah, so, but they don't care. They just use you. And when they're done with you and you're worn out, they throw you away like a piece of garbage. Yeah, kind of like Tom Cruise, right? Throwing Claire away. Hey, that's a similar thing, huh? Thank you for the babies. Thank you for all the money. Thank you for all the fame and fortune as a movie star. Thank you, Claire. I have no use for you anymore. Let's throw you away. That's how I felt. That's how I felt, and kind of that's what Tom did, and it shows that he hasn't processed his past very well. It shows me that all the auditing, all the many hours and hours of auditing that he has gone through as a Scientologist hasn't cleared him. Not quite, He's a little too triggered by Nicole Kidman, his ex-wife. I mean, it almost sounds like he's scared that he's going to fall for her again or something, and he doesn't want to be tempted, and I don't want to be reminded of what we had, because if I'm reminded, then I won't. I'll fall in love with you again. I mean, I think it sounds like Tom Cruise is still stuck on Nicole Kidman, not the other way around. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like Tom Cruise could really I could really help you, Tom. I think I could really help you. And I'm secure in my marriage. My husband, I'm faithful to my husband. I'm not interested in anything else. And I know you don't think that. I'm married, I'm a faithful kind of wife, I don't cheat. And but I think I could be a really good friend to you. And I think you really need my friendship.
Only you and I.
And our friendship. Mm-hmm.
Only you and I married each other 10 times, right?
That's right. I married Dean 10 times. 10 different times. We didn't,
and the last one, we left from California, got hitched. Then we flew out to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. On Christmas Day, it was 85 degrees on the beach.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but let's not talk about. I'm over 4 hours here. 4 hours, 12 minutes. Can you believe this? I mean, the first half hour, I was walking the dog and having technical difficulties, but I got to end this. Okay, so I can't go on and on. All right, so Tom Cruise. Let's do this. Okay, let's. You are the key to my media event, and being my first paper husband, the first the paper husband who's still alive, who was the first. I mean, he's the 1975, July 3rd, 1975. That was, I mean, it's silly that that's CIA law for you. 9 years old, Tom turning 13 that day in 1975, July 3rd, day of mentor and disciple in Nichiren Buddhism. Yeah, crazy that the CIA considers that a legal thing. And yeah, Tom, I'm asking for my money. I really appreciate you protecting my money all this time from 1975 on. I mean, you were a minor. I guess there were adults managing it for you. I don't know. You were 13 years old. What 13-year-old can manage all those riches?
Did he have a show on that kind of honor?
I don't know.
That kind of honor?
All right. Yeah. Funny. But yeah, so can we make some arrangements? Can we get this show on the road? Can we get this party started? Should I play like 5? I'm gonna end this live stream playing that music video, just a little snippet so I don't get in trouble. But can we get this party started, please? I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm making a live stream. This is the longest live stream I've ever made in my entire life. Okay, not that I've made very many, but I don't think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't looked at my other channel to verify that, but this is like one of the longest ones, if it's not the longest. I beg you to. I don't have any connections, nothing. You're a movie star, you got zillions of dollars. I have like $22 to my name right now. And that's a lot. We can get something at the store with that, and we can maybe feed our cats for the next week and a day or so. We can, we have some food in the house that didn't get thrown, that didn't go bad during our almost 9 days of without power. I wonder if well, I mean, I guess you have alternate personas and you get to experience life in different ways other than being a movie star, I hope. I've seen that you have, but I just really think that it's time for the movie star to pay homage to the woman who helped. I mean, I'm not the only one. I didn't do it all by myself. Daddy, there's others, I had partners in this. I was just a little 8-year-old girl. I would really appreciate it if you would honor me by finally, you're not married. So, I know it's complicated if you're married, and clearly you proved that it's a problem when you're married. I'm glad you're not married. I'm glad you're not in a relationship. I mean, not because I want to get involved with you myself. I'm married, happily married, and I am devoted to Dean till death do us part. But what I'm trying to explain is, I don't know. It seems like when you're married, it's a little more complicated, and you don't have that complication now. Okay. You've been single for a while and you haven't really, I know you've been feeling it out a little bit, but nothing has really panned out as of yet. And I'm sure you probably want something to pan out, I don't know. You've had a lot of women though, so I don't see what the big deal is. You have everything a person could ever want. I know you're a workaholic, but I do think it would be very healthy for you to start slowing down and changing gears and doing, instead of being so addicted to work and making movies, it would be nice if you would care to help Claire, and, begin to pay me back for what I have always so selflessly given to you, because I don't, I need somebody to be I don't know, my movie star, I don't know, my hero, whatever. I need somebody. I mean, Clint Eastwood is not responding to me. He's daddy. I think he's waiting for Tom Cruise to do the right thing, is what I'm thinking. He's okay, Tom Cruise, you're the movie star. Come on, be the movie star in real life. Be the movie star. Right? Like Clint is my father, and um he's what has made everything possible, right? And he deserves some credit. I mean, obviously a lot of credit. I mean, I owe him my life. He taught me everything I know. Um but Tom, and you owe him too, and this is how you can pay him back too, for making all of this possible. Um be the movie star in real life instead of in a movie. Be the movie star in real life, and maybe real life. That's a shift for you. You need to shift gears. You've been doing the same thing again and again for too long, and it's wearing you down. You don't seem healthy to me, and you haven't been healthy for a long time. And I know this Scientology has a lot to do with it. And, this is another thing that we need to work out is Scientology. Okay, I want you to stop moving things around. If you want to go sit down, please go sit down. I'm trying to finish up, and I want you to stop. You're not going to sit over there. I told you that before. Okay, this is my space. Okay, all right. Thank you.
There we go. Sit down.
I wish you wouldn't distract me. I'm trying to say something. I need to conclude, and I need you to stop distracting things here. So it would be a good shifting of gears to be the movie star in real life, like you are in movies. Instead of making movies and movies, and I'm talking about Scientology. There have been a lot of innocent people just looking to have a happy life who've been destroyed by Scientology, which conducts itself like a cult. And I know you've been keeping in the mix to protect. I own Scientology. I am the true owner of Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard made me his sole heir. And this what's his name? Oh, what's his name? The guy that thinks he's in charge of Scientology. He's not, and he's not. I own Scientology. It is my organization, and I can't allow it to be conducted like a cult any longer. This dude, what's his name? Miss Cabbage. What's his first name? David Miscavige? Is that his name? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whatever the hell his name is, he needs to step aside. And this, the destruction of people's lives needs to stop. This, going after people who badmouth Scientology. I mean, I don't know if I've been plagued by them. I don't know. I just know it needs to stop. And you need to stop promoting them. You need to stop collaborating with them. I mean, you need to stand up and be the movie star you are in movies and do something. I'm not in a position to do anything, but you are. And I know you're in place to protect my interests, and I do. And I greatly appreciate you protecting the money of mine that you are in control of or in possession of. I don't know how it works. Thank you. I'd like my money back now. It's time to give Claire her money. It's time to give, it's time for Scientology to hand the reins to me so I can be the Scientology fixer. Because so many people die and suffer every day in Scientology, and it can't continue. You know, this torture. I was tortured on the ship, the Apollo, you know, as a little girl, and I shouldn't be alive today. And there are a lot of Scientologists and former Scientologists who know who I am because I shouldn't be alive right now. They saw me die and come back to life, you know, and they know who I am. They know I'm the true heir. Nobody else could be, you know, nobody else could be. So everybody's waiting for you, Tom, to do the right thing, to be the movie star you are in the movies, to be that movie star in real life. We're all counting on you. And just like, you know, Mission Impossible, you can make it possible, and you're going to make it possible. And that's why we put you in place where you are. And it's time. The time has come. And I'm really looking forward to it. And my birthday is just, 8 days away. And I appreciate that you've come back to the States, right? You just returned back these last couple days, right? I think you left Thursday, and today is Saturday. It's Saturday night, and it's after midnight. Now it's Sunday morning. I've been on here so long. I've got to conclude this. I can't believe I had so much to say about Tom Cruise and to Tom Cruise. I hope that I made a difference. I hope you I hope you take me seriously, and you know, I'm not just like entertaining myself right now, you know, staying up and talking for 4 hours to myself. I'm really tired of just talking to myself and having no audience, no one who cares. You know, I'm really tired of it, and I deserve better. Don't you think? After all I've been through and after all I've done for you, isn't it time to 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 honor me and pay homage to me in time for my birthday? And I hope I think the timing of it all is so perfect. You coming back to the United States after living abroad in Britain and England, the UK for 5 years. I had no idea you were living there for the past 5 years. I just found out. See, I don't follow you. I don't keep tabs on you. Occasionally I might look you up. I don't know. I was shocked to learn recently that Suri is 18 years old. I mean, it was like yesterday. It was like yesterday she was born. Can't believe that was 18 years ago. And my life is the same. I mean, I got a roof over my head now, a husband who loves me, you know, who's here for me. But it's the same. Otherwise, you know, I mean, it makes a big difference to have somebody by your side. It makes a big difference. It does. And to have a roof over your head. I mean, in some ways it's harder to have a roof over your head. So, you know, figuring out how to pay all these bills, it's a challenge. But when you're homeless, you've got freedom there. You know, there was a lot of simplicity in being homeless.
Claire,
Yeah.
between me and you, we paid for this house twice.
Okay.
House
Meaning,
it's been paid for a long time.
yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people- a lot of people can't say that. A lot of people
Yeah,
can't say that.
well, we had a mortgage for a while, but our house is fully paid for now. Yeah. I mean, you've had it paid for. It was fully paid for years, and then, you know, I had because of, you know, I mean, because we didn't have much money, and you know, we had no choice but to get a mortgage after a while, but you know, we paid it off in full after Dean's mother died. And our house is now paid in full again. Has been for a while. Okay. I think we are done here. I hope this this live stream made a difference. Okay, Dean, we gotta go. What?
Tell
What?
him
No,
if
no.
he wants to come down to the Masters, we'll put him give a room in your house.
Dean, we're not. Dean, you're welcome to contact us, and yeah, I. Anyway, we're here for you, is what Dean means to say. We're not. Our house is not in any condition to have any guests, Dean, and in any way, we don't want to be here much longer. So we want to get out of this state. We do. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I guess everybody's going to watch this at another time if they do. And because it's just been me by myself talking to myself all this time, all these hours. I enjoy it though. I do. I feel like I have an audience, even though I don't.
It's therapeutic.
It is therapeutic, and I know there's an audience out there that doesn't show up and publicly. I know I have a big audience. I'm very, very popular with the top secret crowd. I'm like I'm like the celebrities love me. I just don't, the thing. I know I'm their. They just dream of having a life like me where I can just operate freely, walk outside my house and not be recognized, and nobody knows who I am, and they would love to have a life like me. I'm a celebrity, but nobody knows I'm a celebrity, and that's every celebrity's fantasy. But it sucks because I don't have any of the money that a celebrity has because I don't exist according to the CIA. So my money doesn't exist for me. It exists for everybody else, but not me because I'm classified. I mean, it sucks. That sucks. That really sucks. And I shouldn't be classified anymore. I mean, I expired on July 23rd. Okay. There's been all this legal tug of war behind the scenes with the CIA trying to explain why I should be renewed because I'm some kind of threat to national security. Like I present some kind of threat from a foreign land. No, I just protect all the criminals in the CIA. That's all. I protect the CIA by, there won't be any lawsuit against the CIA as long as I'm declassified, as long as I'm classified. Yeah. She can't sue us and if we keep her classified. That's not a reason to keep somebody classified. You can't renew, and top secrets are I think it's 25 years, is typical for a top secret. And somebody mentioned to me 50 years. I'm at 49 years here and counting, and we're not waiting another year. It's this year. And I was promised this year back in 94, this year. So it's this year. And I hope, I'm hoping on my birthday something really special happens, I'm really looking forward to it. And, I don't want to think about it too much because I'm always disappointed. Always again and again. I'm disappointed again and again and again and again. And so tired of that. Yeah. We'll see how it goes on my birthday. And then we'll see how it goes after that. I don't know. But Tom Cruise, we're here for you. We are, Dean. We are here for you. If you do the right thing, just do the right thing. You didn't do the right thing back in, I guess, 2008. You didn't. Okay. You can make it up to me now, because I think it's time. I have expired. My classification my top secret classification expired July 23rd. There's no schedule for how things are renewed. I'm obviously not renewed. There's been a tug of war. I know I'm being declassified. I don't know. I guess they picked my birthday. I don't know. I think we'll all know when Claire is declassified. I think the whole world will know. I mean, you don't get declassified and not know it.
Watch all the channels. When they do the nightly news, and Oh, by the way, Claire is no longer.
Well, no, they'll start, then the media can start all their stories about me. I mean, there are so many stories, and I just want credit. I mean, everybody thinks I'm a lunatic, okay? Without me, the media backing me up, or somebody backing me up, doctors, lawyers, what, I don't know who it is. I don't know. Somebody has a plan somewhere. I want the plan to be implemented now. I want my life now. Can you imagine being almost 59 years old and not being treated like a legal adult after all this time, after all I've been through? I've been through hell, and I
No,
still am not. I have
you-
not earned adulthood.
You were treated worse than a goddamn prisoner in jail
I know it. I know.
for
Yeah.
a long haul.
And yeah. All right. We need to conclude. Thank you, whoever watches this. Thank you. And let's conclude with that little video, that music video I mentioned. Let's get the party started. Wait, let me get it over here. Hold on. It's let's go to YouTube. And all right, this we have to wait for the gotta stop there because okay, that's 24 seconds and I interrupted it. I think I'm in the clear. Let's get this party started. Come on. All right. Enough. I'll stop. Have a good evening. Oh, let me just see. Let me just see if I can conclude with
Or as you used to see on the radio stations. Good night and good morning.
this is me. And I just want to say I have all these different things I can put up on my screen, and I'm just don't know what I want to say. Yeah, well, let's just say this disclaimer, and I also can become a member. Okay, Linktree, The Truth Heals, and this is other ways. Oops, that you can support the channel as well. Yeah, hi, Sandy. Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. Okay. All right. Bye. 4.5 hours. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Bye.
There. That's half an 8-hour shift.
I know. Wait, let me see. I gotta get my outro going. Hold on. Hold on.